contributions. That's like a short version of me, basically.
Okay, thank you very much. That was very short. Can you get to tell us more?
Like, sure, more detail. Okay.
Yes, in detail.
Should I tell you like how I joined tech, or just like me generally?
No, just you generally. Just want to get to know you better.
Better. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So again, my name is Edidiong. I'm a girl, obviously, and so I like tech, and I joined tech like some time ago. And I love watching movies. Like I think if there's anything that can distract me in the world, it's movies. Because I remember when I was in university, right? I could literally have an exam by like 12 p.m. and I'm watching a movie like from like morning to like 11 p.m. Obviously, I read before, right? But then when people see me, they're like, "Oh my God, Edidiong is watching movie," and I'm like, "Yeah, I love movies," but obviously I read. But anyway, so that's how much I love movies, and I hate watching seasonal movies because whenever I start, like I get soaked in. Like if I start watching a seasonal movie, I literally can't do anything except I complete the movie, right? So that's why I don't like watching it, except I know I don't really have a lot of things to do at that particular point in time. Yeah, and I love trap music. I don't know if you guys know trap music, but then I think Travis Scott is one of the people that sings trap music, right? So I love trap music. I love dancing too most of the time, and I like writing. Fun fact, I used to think I was a terrible writer. Well, I still think I'm not there yet. But then there was a time where like I literally couldn't say stuff. Like I didn't literally type out stuff or say something because I just couldn't put it in words. So I was just like, okay, hey, if I can't say this thing in words, let me just keep quiet. Maybe my thoughts don't really matter, right? Until I decided to like take a step to start writing. Because I think I saw this quote that says, you learn how to write by writing, right? So there's really no way you just stay and magically become a writer. It's when you keep writing, then you automatically become better, like day by day. So yeah, that, and then I love making open source contributions too, because it gives me like an opportunity to talk with a lot of people that I wouldn't even speak with like on a normal day. Right. So I think that's like medium version. I think the first version, I think this
exactly.
This should definitely be fine, right?
Yeah, sure. It is okay. We want to know, how did you start your journey in tech? How did you start?
Okay. Yeah. So I studied computer science, but then I literally, like, that was not my goal in life. Like, I didn't want to study computer science. It was just, well, things that happened. So initially when I was like younger, I wanted to become a lawyer. And I think it's because, well, maybe I was stubborn and I used to like argue with like everybody, literally. So like, I would not agree with what you're saying. So if you tell me, I always find it. Sometimes even when I'm wrong, right, I would just sit down and then try to convert it in such a way that if I tell it to somebody, you definitely think I'm right? The way I'll turn it there, I'll just be like, no, okay, so the reason why I did it was because you did this other thing. So generally, I like to think that's what made me want to be a lawyer when I was like a little child. So I remember my dad used to be like, hey, the lawyer and all that. But then when I went to secondary school, I realized, remember I said I didn't like writing. So for me to not like writing at the time, I didn't like reading. Yeah, I liked to read to pass my books, but then did I like reading novels and storybooks and like documents? No, I didn't like any of those things, right? Okay. So so when I went to secondary school, I realized that for you to be like a good lawyer, they used to say that the dictionary has to be your friend. And I'm like, hey, wait for a minute. I don't like reading. How would me and the dictionary be friends, right? Okay. And then you also had to like literature. So I liked the literature like teacher, but because I didn't like reading, so like what's the connection? Do you get? So I now realized that, well, maybe this law thing is not for me. And then I think another thing that made me change my mind was my proprietor at the time. Because, well, I like to think I was a good student. So there was a time where we had like, I think like a few people were selected to have a conversation with the proprietor, right? And I was one of them. And he was just like, okay, hey, what do you want to be? And like stuff. So I said to him, hey, I wanted to become a lawyer. And then he was like, that it feels like Nigeria, as it is right now, people take laws into their hands, right? So they may not necessarily want a lawyer. They'll probably just gonna meet like a babalawo, or maybe just send somebody to beat you up and stuff like that. Exactly. So like, hey, that and the fact that I don't like reading, maybe I shouldn't do this. So like, okay, hi, fine, let me go into into the science class. Because in my secondary school, when you're in SS1, unlike most schools where when you enter SS1, you have to choose between science and arts. my secondary school, you do like both science and arts in SS1. So you could literally be studying like over to 20 something subjects.
Courses, yes, yes.
So the idea was try out all of them and know which one you're good at, instead of just assuming that you're good at this one and not. And then when you're not good, now realize that you're not, right?
Yeah.
So in the process where like in my SS1, and I realized that I don't think art was for me, because I kind of liked physics, even though it's weird because people don't like physics. But so I said, okay, fine, let me go into science. And I wanted to be a petrochemical engineer at the time, because while I was in secondary school too, we were selected, like a couple of us were selected to go to Total in Port Harcourt. And I just liked how the company was. Everybody was so fine. And they just had like I don't know, like, there was just something about like the company and like how, when you're small, when you see all these things, you're just like, okay, I want to work here. So Total used to be like my dream company when I was younger.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, hey, let me be a petrochemical engineer so that I'll work in Total, right, at some point. And fine, okay, that was like the goal though. I went to SS2 studying science. But then my father came from nowhere, well, from somewhere anyway. And then he said, obviously, there's always this point in life when you get to have a conversation with your father about what you want to become, right? So that day came, and then it was like, yeah, I knew I wanted to be a lawyer, because everybody used to call me a lawyer when I was younger. But like, okay, hey, life has happened. What do you want to be?
What do you want to be?
I was like, yeah. And I was like, I want to be a petrochemical engineer. And I was like, no. I remember one of his brother that when they were young, was like engineer. But like, look at him now, he's not really doing well. He now said I should become a medical doctor. And I was like, Daddy, I don't like drugs. I don't like blood. In fact, I can't even marry a doctor because I don't like the scent of drugs. That's how much I hate drugs. Yeah, but then when you now realize that, hey, this man is paying your school fees, right? It's like you really have there's really nothing you can do. And you know how African parents can be, it's to now look like you're trying to disobey them or something. Yeah. So at that point, I didn't have a choice. So I had to change my mind to want to study medicine, even though I hated biology. Well, I liked biology, but then but then it was crazy. So even though I liked to like biology, but I didn't like the teacher at the time, because well, he kind of did something that made me angry. So when you hate someone, you hate like everything about them.
Exactly,
So
you're very correct.
Exactly. So I now started hating biology too, right? So it's like I hated drugs, I hated blood, I hated biology, and look at me going to study medicine and surgery.
That's very funny.
I know, right? So I applied, like during my job, I applied to study medicine and surgery at Afi Babalola University. And I passed the exams, but then when it was not time for me to go, my father said, no, because it's in Edidiong Asikpo. I was like, no, that school is too far. He doesn't think I can do it, because he used to like look at me like, okay, hey, this girl, she goes to my, or something, I don't know. But he said the school was too far. So I had to start applying to like another private school, because he didn't want me to go to a public school. So I started applying to go to another private school. And at the time, almost all private schools had like closed like submissions for like medicine and surgery and all that. So the only ones you could find were like all the private schools that are not really so good, but then they are good, but then you would most likely not find medicine and surgery, right? So I think one of his friends heard about like the school I went to, which is Renaissance University, and he was like, okay, fine, let me go to this school. And I decided to, because the school didn't have medicine and surgery, they just had microbiology, right? So I went in to study microbiology. But fun fact, on the day of resumption, remember I said I didn't like biology. I think before I went to school, me and my dad just kind of agreed that, because the idea was, okay, I'll go there and study microbiology for like 1 year. Then after that 1 year, I would now leave and go to another school and actually study medicine and surgery. Right? Yeah. But then before I went to school, I can't remember what happened, but my dad and I kind of agreed that, well, let me just study something else that'll just make me finish there completely, instead of having to leave there and go to another school. And I remember that when I was in school, like in secondary school, I loved computer science because it was always really easy to read, right? Because I could literally have an exams by like 12 and then just read in the morning and still pass really well. I think the lecturer was really good at explaining computer science. So I now saw that, I went to the school's website and saw that there was a course called computer science. And honestly speaking, before that time, I never knew there was a course like that. Yes, I knew there was computer engineering, but I never knew there was like, you could study computer science and become a computer scientist. Even like the name scientist was like weird in my ear. But I was like, okay, hey, I think this is definitely better than biology, right?
Okay.
So when I resumed, I told the registrar that I wanted to change. You know, private schools, they can do almost anything. I told the registrar that I wanted to change from microbiology to computer science. So she just had to write like another, what's that later? I can't remember the name of the later. But another letter welcomes you into the school. Then she now changed it from microbiology to computer science. Okay. So that's how I coincidentally studied computer science. So I went to school, and strangely, the computer science was not as easy as it was when I was in secondary school, right? Because remember I said in secondary school, it was like way easy.
Okay.
But then this particular lecturer, I don't know what happened. Like it just be like in the class, and then you're just trying to like figure out what's happening because it was really, really hard. And then, you know, in Nigerian universities, when they're teaching you how to code, it's mostly on the board, and then they're like, okay, 1 + 1 is equals to this, and you're like, okay, what's happening? So when you're trying to write exams, you basically just cram what you need to cram and then go in and then write it and leave. So the break for me was when I went for my industrial training at Start Innovation Hub, which is like a tech hub in Akwa Ibom State. You know, the industrial training, you go for like a 6-month industrial training to give you perception of how work life would look like when you eventually graduate. So I went there, and one of the things I learned was how to become like an Android developer, how to develop mobile applications, right? Okay. And so this time, we actually had people who were actually teaching you like well, and we were using a laptop, so it's not like the usual board and then like talking to you and then you don't know what's happening. So I now started learning like Java, and now trying to use the Java to write like code in Android, right? And then because I feel like everybody who has done like and started learning Android in Nigeria has probably tried like the Sunshine course, like Udacity course on Android. I feel like that's like a really popular course. And that in that course, one of the first things you had to do was to like display an image on an Android phone. Well, it's like in an app, so to speak. So once you build something with Android, once you push parties onto your mobile phone, there's like the little Android icon that shows. So once you click on that icon, you see something, right? So the first thing you could see was like you try to build like an image. So once you click on the app, it shows you an image. And that was like the first thing I did. And I was just like, wow, okay. This is like, did I just do that? Like, did I just click on an app that I created and see a picture? Yeah. I'm like, okay, I think this is for me. Right? So I think like the excitement that I could do that thing was just like the turning point, basically. So I went from mistakenly studying computer science to now liking how to code, because I went for my industrial training, not because of the school, because the school was cool, but then it just didn't know how to explain programming to me. And then another really interesting thing at the time was like in Start Innovation Hub, they were hosting like a lot of tech events. So I think there was no developer circles at the time, but then there was GDG. So they were hosting like a lot of GDG events. And then in my head, I'm like, wow, so Google came here to sponsor an event. Like, I didn't really see it as Google developer group, like a subgroup of something. I saw it as Google. I was like, as Google, like, you know when you go for IT, you have to write like the IT report or your IT reports book. When I was like Google, I didn't write Google developer, but I had to write Google. Like, so they'll know that this girl is serious, like she went for IT. So, and I think that too. And then I just like, so from there, I started building like upon like the Android, doing like different things where you could just like transfer, like, you know, when you build and even transfer, I can first transfer something from that app to like WhatsApp itself. So I was like, okay, hey, so if I can actually do, because I could start building like small things that I saw on mobile applications like Facebook and WhatsApp. Okay. And I love Facebook. So I was like, okay, so if I can actually do these things that these Facebook engineers do, maybe not everything, but at least if this icon that Facebook has on the Facebook app, I built the icon. So like that's like a step towards the right direction. And I think I could literally do this or like go into like tech completely. So when I went back to school, like what the teachers were now teaching like began to make more sense, because I could, like, since I already studied programming like in depth during my industrial training, it was easier. Like sometimes when they ask questions and nobody knows, I'm already answering
questions.
Exactly, because I did my industrial training. So that was just like the turning point for me, basically, to like tech, the excitement that I could do things that I do things that I've been using like on like a normal day. So I think that was just like the excitement, and then obviously I had to graduate from school. But yeah, so that's like how I joined tech as theory.
Well, seriously, that's making sense. You really had a journey around your courses before you finally got to tech.
I know, right? I did.
Okay, so basically, how long have you been in tech? Like, how old are you in tech?
Well, so since I did my industrial training in 2017, right?
Okay.
So 2017, which year are we in? 2020, like 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. So I think let me just, even though if I calculate 20 is like 4 years, but I think I like to say 3 because I didn't start at the beginning of 2017, it was like in the middle, and 2020 has not even ended yet. So it's like, yeah, so I'll just say 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
3 years. 3 years. 3 years in tech, and you're already putting this kind of weight. As I'm actually hammering.
Right.
3 years in tech, and you're actually pulling this kind of weight. That's amazing.
Well, yeah, it is. And there's still like so much work to do.
Okay, so as a lady, have you faced any difficulties so far in tech? Like, if it's yes, tell us about the challenges you face, where you are.
Sorry, I think someone's mic is on, so I really didn't hear what you said.
Oh, sorry. Please turn off your mic. Please turn off your mic. Everybody, please turn off your microphone so that it will just be I and Didi that will just be hearing ourselves. Please, you can just listen. Okay, I said, since you've been you are where you are now, working at Interswitch, and and all your journeys to tech, how have you faced any problem? Any difficulties to be, as a lady in technology, it's a kind of tricky, right? Because if you guys are 10, it will just be 2 or 3 girls or ladies there. So you as a lady,
exactly.
have you actually faced being in tech? If there is, please tell us. We want to hear.
All right. So I know that people, when you're a lady, there are a lot of things you face in tech, like maybe guys think you're not like good enough for like to be in tech, or maybe you're not smart enough. But then personally, I've not actually really gone through that. But then I've seen it like happening to women, or I've seen like a guy has talked to me in that way about a woman. So like, let me give an example. So there was this time at work in Interswitch, and I was working with a team because I wanted to publish an article about a particular product that we use at Interswitch. And then, so that means I had to work with like that team and the design team too, right? To like, okay, get the content and then send it to the design team. So after the lady, so it was a lady that actually designed it. So after she finished designing like the whole stuff that I sent to her, obviously I had to give it to the team itself for them to approve it in some kind of way before I go forward to like add it to the article. And when I sent it to him, so I showed him the design, it was like, that he saw as a lady that designed this thing.
Wow.
So he didn't like it. So it will just be simple for you to say, hey, I don't like this design, or hey, something can change. But in the fact that he said it's a lady that that means he's trying to say that, okay, ladies are not smart enough to design it, or ladies are not right. And I was just like, guy, like this thing you're saying is totally not good. Like you could just simply say, I don't like this, or maybe they need to change this. Like it's bad for you to have the perception that ladies are not smart enough for these things, right? So I think whenever I see it happen, I like to call it out and say, okay, hey, this thing you're doing is wrong, or this thing you're doing is not right. But then generally, there are really a lot of men, a lot of amazing men that are really, really supportive. I think those are the kind of people that I've had like around me. Like, well, when I started at Start Innovation Hub, there were a lot of guys and men trying to support us, say, hey, you can do this. Nobody was looking down on you even when we were trying to learn. And even like I just have like a lot of male tech friends that I'm just like, hey, can you help me do this thing? Like maybe I need your thoughts on something. And then they don't make you feel stupid for asking those questions. They actually give you an opportunity to learn, tell you like their ideas. And then I think it kind of depends on like the people you have around you. Yes, there are definitely men and people that think that women are not good for tech. There are a lot of them out there in the world ready to weigh you down. But then there are also a lot of people who are like really, really supportive and really, really glad to like help you, and always like excited that they have like a female person in tech, or like in the industry generally. And I think the world is slowly becoming a better place. Like we have so many organizations like FemCode Africa, and like so many organizations trying to help women and bring women into the tech space. So I think it's a good time for any woman to want to join tech, because like the opportunities are numerous. There are so many like free resources. There's so many organizations that are willing to help women to come into tech. So I think this is a good time, even though those challenges are there. I think one of the things I've loved to do was like, don't give people a reason to feel like you're not smart enough to do something.
Yeah.
If I'm supposed to do something, I'll do it and show you. Like, I won't give you a reason to say, Edidiong cannot do it because she's a lady. No, I will do it and show you, and then like you won't have a reason to even think about the fact that, okay, I couldn't do this thing well because I'm a lady. Or you just try to, like, when someone says you're not good at something, tell them, okay, hey, there's a better way to approach this, right? You don't need to make me feel stupid for asking you a question, because it's really fine to ask questions. So I think it's just like having like an open mind, because those challenges are there. People face it a lot, but they just try to be like a biggest cheerleader, basically, because everybody might not always be there to support you. So just support yourself and keep striving to be better.
Yeah, support yourself and keep striving to be better. I think I like that line.
Yeah.
If you actually wait for someone to get to support you, I think it's a kind of very difficult, especially from most places where ladies find themselves in. I can use myself as an example. When I wanted to start learning coding, was 2016. So in this guy that was very good in tech, his name is Shulammite then, and he was actually leading our department. I was in ND1 then. So I went up to this guy and I told him, please, I want to learn tech. I've always had a passion for it. Please teach me.
Yeah.
You know what he said? He said, you're a lady. What do you need to learn tech for? After all, you just you end up with your husband.
Get married, I know.
also pissed and angry, and I tried learning on my own. I started with Python. I started learning on my own, but along the line, I stopped, and I started. It was after an event, GDG 2017. I actually had people who motivated me. I saw Adadia, I saw Samson Godi, I saw so many interesting people that came around. I was like, start, and the fire just filled up with me again. And I started networking. I met the right people. This time around,
I think we did really good.
The right people, and I get to mingle with them, network with them, and they started helping me out, and that's how I finally found myself in our 5 Tech Hub. So I think I like that.
That's cool.
You don't see someone to actually motivate you, motivate yourself, and start.
That's exactly, like be your biggest cheerleader. Exactly. Like you don't need to. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So you said you've not had issues with finding yourself around in tech. You always had this smooth way around. Like what I mean by that is that you didn't have inequality issues when finding your way around tech. That's actually nice.
No, I like to think I didn't. Maybe I was lucky, or I just had like the right people around me. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah,
I didn't give them a reason to think.
Exactly. Not giving them the reason to think that you're not. So always have this. I think I try to have this positive attitude in you. I can do it, and you try to do it, even if you don't know how to do it. Try to ask people around, like, please, I want to.
Yeah, exactly. There's really no harm in asking.
Exactly. That's nice. Thank you. Okay, sorry, another question coming up.
Yeah, sure, it's fine.
So, as a woman, how did you succeed to balance your personal life and your tech life?
Yeah.
Working in Interswitch, your personal life, how do you manage to balance that?
Well, so I think there's like, I have like different priorities, right? There are things that make sense for me at the moment, and then there's certain things I want to do. So yeah, there was a time where, well, it might seem that maybe, hey, I was like working on, but then you just try to like find like a balance or like a space between like your work life and like other things. Because I remember when I was like still going to school, like when I come back home, I was always like on my laptop like almost every time. Then my dad is like, hey, why are you always on your laptop? Maybe most of the time he's thinking I'm like watching movies and stuff like that. But then today the one saying, my African queen, Edidiong of this, Edidiong of that, you get. So it's like totally coding and being in tech needs commitment. It's not something you start today and stop tomorrow, or you start today and like you continue next 2 weeks. It needs like commitment, it needs consistency. So you just try to like set different priorities, like what is really important for you, where do you see yourself in like 1 year, in like 6 months, what are the things you want to achieve per month. So I try to write out what I want to achieve like every month, I write out what I want to achieve like every month, and then in that month I try to like split it into like per week, so that way I don't put a lot of pressure on myself, and then I kind of know like the things that are really important to me. So these ones are like primary, and then every other thing is secondary, right? So that way I can still like have time to live my life. Like I said earlier, I love watching movies, so that's like my way to unwind, right? So even if you're working really hard, always find time to like take care of yourself. Whatever you love doing, I love watching movies. So watch movies, I like swimming. So I probably go to go and swim. Like, so in as much as you're working hard, it's great to find like a time to be good to yourself, to like encourage us also to say, okay, hey, Edidiong, you did this, so like take this ice cream. Or Edidiong, you did this, buy this thing for yourself. Do you get it? Just try to like, because this money you're not making it to keep it. You're making it to enjoy the money.
Yeah, that's why your videos or your status, right? It's all those nice
yes, exactly. You have to enjoy the money. So it's fine to save, right? But then enjoy the money now. You're working for it. So I like to. This year was my baby girl in life. I like to be a baby girl, even though I'm still in tech, right? So I still do my job when I'm like have like priorities, do certain things that are important to me, and still just try to have time for like myself and like my friends and my family. It's hard, and then just finding people that understand you, right? Because if I get married today, I'll probably marry someone that's in tech, or just someone that understands me, right? To understand that I may have to be on my laptop like almost all the time, and then you're totally fine with that. There are people that may not understand that, so you're trying to find like the right support system, basically. People that understand you, understand like your job, your role, the things you want to achieve, and like things that make sense to you, and then they just try to support you. So yeah, I think it's just that, like the right people, finding time for yourself, setting priorities of things that are important to you, and like focusing on like, if I say, okay, hey, I want to build this personal project, I want to write this article, and then someone brings in something else to me, those ones are like secondary, but then these are like the main things I want to do. So if I can't do those ones, it's fine. I'm not going to put pressure on myself, but I work towards doing this one and like setting like a particular time frame for me. So if I'm working from like 8 a.m. to like 8 p.m. From 8 p.m., don't stress me. Like that's all. It's over. It's okay. Yeah. So that's just it basically.
Yeah.
Like for me, that's what works for me.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so we are actually going to take our 10 minutes break.
Okay.
There's a link. There's a second link on our page you can use to join the second meeting. But please go to our page under the We Are Live. Try to ask your questions. Drop your questions there. In the next section, we are going to start asking her your questions. So 10 minutes break. We'll meet you in 10 minutes. Thank you.
All right, sure. So I'm supposed to join with the other link. Is it the same password?
Yeah, the same password. Yeah, essentially.
Okay. All right. Sure.
See you there. Yeah.
Take care.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Google search, and you find a lot of amazing things, or a lot of amazing, like the community right now. The tech community is very supportive. So there's so many people that are always willing to help on Twitter, personally, and stuff like that. So honestly speaking, it's not for the people that are brilliant. Well, I'm not saying you shouldn't be brilliant to start writing code, but then anybody can do it. Anybody, any single person can do it. Just start and stay consistent. That's just it. And then you wrote code. Everything is possible, generally.
Okay, someone wants to know. Yeah, thank you. Someone wants to know, what language do you code and how do you how did you learn? Like, what language do you write and how do you learn?
Okay, so right now I do HTML, CSS. No, that's not like a language, and JavaScript and Python. So I started with obviously like the things they teach you in school, which was like I think QBasic, and I can't remember. But obviously that one, like I said, I was just cramming what I could cram and passing exams. Yeah. But then when I went for my industrial training, I did Android, so that means I had to learn Java. So technically, like if you want to say officially, like the ones I knew, not the ones that my teacher was teaching me, I didn't really understand. I would say Java, and then after Java, like when I left school, I started to like go into web and not do Android anymore. So I started learning Python. So I did Java, Python, HTML, CSS, and then JavaScript. So yeah, that's like the flow for me. But then there's really no flow. So it also depends on what you want to learn. So if you want to become like a web developer, you now decide you want to become a front end or you want to become a back end. If you want to become a back end, you have to understand HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, or HTML, CSS, and Python, because that's like a scripting language. Then if you want to go into back end, you're probably doing like PHP or Node.js. So it just depends on like the web sound. I don't know if someone's
I'm trying to. Miss Agnes, please try and mute your this thing. We can barely hear from here. I'm trying to do it here, but I don't know what's wrong. Please try and mute your device, please. Thank you. Sorry, please continue.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so I think that so it just depends on like what you want to do. There's really no paths. Like there's a path, but then what works for me or what works for other people might not work for you. But then you just try to research on what you want to learn or what you want to study. So like I said, if it's front end, if you want to be a web developer, I know there are 3 parts, right? front end, back end, or full stack. Full stack means you understand both front end and back end.
Okay.
When you decide on those things that you want to do, then you can now dive into like the particular languages you want to learn. So if you want to learn like Python, you want to learn JavaScript, because there's so many languages that can do this thing, Ruby on Rails. So you now decide, okay, hey, which of these things do I want to be good at in the next 2 months, in the next 3 months, in the next 4 months, in the next 5 months? And then you now start learning. And then, like I said, Google is your friend. There's so many resources out there. So you just need to like Google them, find it, and always be free and willing to reach out to people to help you whenever you have like problems, because it's totally fine. I still reach out to people to help me like not almost every day, but then whenever I have a problem that I try to solve and then I can't, it's good to reach out. But then I think one thing that people don't do really well, which can be really annoying, is when someone sends you a DM and be like, "Hi, Edidiong, I want to learn how to code, guide me through." Like, there is Google for that, like, right? So just go and study how to do that. Then maybe you come and tell me, "Hey, I tried to write something in HTML, but it didn't work. And I Googled it, but this didn't happen. What do you think should happen?" That way someone feels like you're more serious, like you did your own research and you're not just sitting down to be spoon-fed, right? Exactly. It's always better to do your research and like ask questions. And another thing I like to point out where people don't do well is when you want to send someone a message, you just send hi or you send hello. I feel like that's not cool. It's better to go straight to the point. So if you say, if you're sending me a message for the first time, tell me, "Hi, my name is this." If it's on WhatsApp, I got your number from that, and I want to talk to you about this. Instead of just sending hi, because if you send hi, I may not respond, or I'm already like happy about the fact that you sent hi, or it probably just start like in a wrong vibe, basically. Because you need to understand that people have things that they're doing with their time, and the time where they spend to reply a message, you want to reply it as soon as possible. So once you put everything together and send it at once, it's easier for the person to just give you a response immediately, instead of hello and then the person will tell you hi and then how are you and then fine. Like it wastes time. So it's better to do your research before you ask the question, and then also go straight to the point when you're asking the question, remembering that you and this person are not friends. You and these people, or like whoever you're trying to reach out to, are not like close friends personally. So just go straight to the point. Then if your friendship builds up eventually after that, fine. But then going straight to the point really, really helps. Like just makes the conversation happen faster, and then it makes the person think that you're serious about what you ask.
Okay. The next one is, you said, do you advise a lady to combine schooling and tech and learning tech, or do you advise them to go to school, have a good grade, come out, then go for a tech training? What's your intake in that?
Well, I think if I could start coding when I was like a child, I'm sure I'd be way good by now. If I have a child, if hopefully the child is interested in tech, I would start teaching like immediately while you're still like 2 years old. So really, like, there is no time to waste time. I like to say that there's really no time to waste time, right? So why are you waiting till you leave school? I think it's better to start. Remember, I said no matter how small, even if you're in school and you keep doing like 30 minutes is, if you think about 30 minutes is, it's a really, really short amount of time, right? So if you can put out 30 minutes towards learning how to code every day while you're still in school, before you leave school, there are people like I left school. When did I graduate? I graduated school in like 2018, and then I got a job with Interswitch like the same year. Like when I had to go do my IT. Sorry, when I did my NYC, and then I got a job with Interswitch. But then there are people that graduated like a long time ago and they still don't have jobs now. Why did I get the job? It's because I'm in tech, and because I started while I was still in school. Even when I was about to get like my full-time offer, and then they gave me like a low offer, I was like, hey, I know that I just left school. I know that I just finished my NYC, but then this is not today where I started. Did you get it? I started it since 2017. So it's like you're building a lot of experience, because you know people almost don't want to hire people that don't have experience. So you don't need to wait till you finish school till you get those experience. You need to start, even if you're volunteering to like lead a community, or you're contributing to open source. Like there's just there's just so many things that you can do to add those experiences to your CV, because if you think about it, it's your CV that gets you the interview for the job before they see like what you can do, what you are made of, right? Exactly, so if your CV is not good enough, you won't even get the opportunity to come for the interview, even though you're very good. So you need to show them that you are good enough, and you don't need to wait till you come out from school. You need to start while you're in school, if you can do it. I'm not saying you should start and then go and fail your exams and say you did. I'm not saying you should, but I feel like just finding like a balance, like 30 minutes every day. Really, it's not well, it's hard to stick to it every day. But if you think about it, you have conversation with your friend for more than 30 minutes. You just watch movies for more than 30 minutes. There's so many things you do with 30 minutes that if you do, trust me, just try coding for 30 minutes every day for 1 month and then see how, like, just see the improvement. Just 1 month, just try for 1 month and then let me know if you did improve. Like, you would literally be shocked at the way you'd be able to improve, honestly. You should definitely try it.
Oh, thank you. You actually answered a lot of questions here. So we are saying I'm inconsistent and I don't really know how to balance my time, and you've already tell them what to do. Just code for 30 minutes. She's saying that you should code for 30 minutes. And she said, no time to waste time. Taking that again, I'm noting that again. No time
to waste time.
No time to waste time. So you can just start up from coding for 30 minutes. If you're confident with that, you can maybe add up to 45 minutes, 1 hour, and you keep coding, right?
1 hour, yeah.
Okay. She said, one person asked, do you think, what do you think is the skills IT companies look out for before they employ you?
So again, it depends on the kind of company you're looking out for or the kind of role you're applying for.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. Okay. So when I was about to join, when I was doing like my interview process with Interswitch, before then I started contributing to open source, and then one of the things I could do because of that was I was able to build like sample codes on how to, because I contributed to MediaWiki. MediaWiki is the platform that powers Wikipedia. You know, Wikipedia is like, I'm sure everybody should know Wikipedia. So I was contributing to MediaWiki. And one of the things I was able to do was to build like sample codes on how to use their APIs in Python. Because like I said, I used the Python. And then I was also able to like improve their documentation, like their API documentation. So I'm like improving, like creating a sample code in Python for them and also improving the API documentation of that particular API. And then when I went for my interview, luckily at the time, the company was also looking like, aside from being like a software engineer, they needed people to help to improve their documentation and stuff like that. Yeah. So it was that skill, like aside from other things, I guess, it was that skill, that the fact that I had contributed to open source. And then I don't know if you guys know Baba Femi, but then he's the CIO for Interswitch. And then it was like, okay, when last did you make a contribution to this open source organization? And then thankfully, I even made a contribution that day before I went to work. So I was like, now to make it, what did you do? I'm like, hey, I did this, and then I did that. This is what the API does, what I did. So it just, I feel like there's so many like opportunities really. And then it's just like finding the right track. What do you want to do? What do you want to learn? Like, where do you see yourself in the next 2-3 years? Would Interswitch give you that? Would Andela give you that? Would this company give you that? Right? So when you decide on, okay, which company am I looking for? In our these companies, what do they want? So it's not every company that wants someone that understands JavaScript. Interswitch prefer Java because they're mostly building like payment systems, even though they use React for front end. While there are companies that just want JavaScript. So you need to like think about it. Where do I want to go to? Which company would I love to work in? What would I love to be able to build? Because certain programming languages, you're not able to do some things with some of them. And then you try to apply to those companies. So that means you need to do a lot of research to understand it. So companies need different things, right? So try to understand what do you need? What do you want to? So if you want to go into technical writing, I want to work in a company that loves and appreciates technical writing. So you try to do that and try to improve your skills based on that. So I think that's just like there are different companies need different things. You just need to understand what a particular company needs, if it meets your need before you apply. Because even though you're working for that company, like it's a two-way thing. You're helping them, they're helping you. So
exactly, very correct. You're helping them and helping them. Does Interswitch take IT students? Someone asked.
Well, yes, they do. So I have there are 2 people in my team that are currently in IT, so they do. But then the thing is, they do basically. But then they just accept you as an intern, which is like for 1 year. So, but then if you want to continue working while you're still going to school, that's fine. It just depends on the understanding you have between you and your line manager. But yes, they do accept. So you just need to send your CV to careers@interswitchgroup.com and let them know. And then if the HR team sees that you're good enough, they'll reach out to you for that. So we're totally open to accepting interns and IT students.
Okay, thank you very much. That is basically some of the questions. I handpicked the questions that are different from, because most of them are just asking the same thing. And as you were explaining yourself, you also answered some of the questions. So I hope that if I don't get to ask your question, it means that she, one way or the other, answered the question along the line. So just pay attention to what she has said or what you've listened to, and you get your answer figured out. So thank you very, very much for your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I want to ask you one last question. Like, well,
okay,
not like a question. What do you think you can tell? Would you have any word of advice you can give to the ladies that are actually listening to you? We have over 26 participants. So, any word of advice you can give to them? They're listening.
Well, so I like to think that women are underrated legends, right? I think we can do like almost everything, if not everything we set our minds to do. You can do everything because you are a woman who's capable of giving birth to children. You know how to cook. You know how to understand people. You just almost know how to do to me. And then one great thing about women is that we have the ability to do a lot of things at the same time. So if you're a woman out there and you think you don't know how to code or you don't want to be in tech, also understand that to be in tech does not mean you necessarily have to code, right? There's designing, there's program management, there's just so many things you can access. And then being in tech gives you a lot of opportunities, honestly, so many opportunities. You get to make a good amount of money, you get to be your own boss. Nobody is telling you, it's not I'm not saying you should not listen to people, but then honestly, there's so many opportunities in tech. If you think you're not good enough, then it's a lie. Just go out there, do the necessary research you need to do, and then just start. And then most importantly, I like to say, just start and stay consistent. If you've not started, then please start. If you've started, then stay consistent, and then the sky is going to be your limit. And then just be your biggest cheerleader. So start, stay consistent, be your biggest cheerleader, because it's not everybody nobody would really support you and say, hey, this girl is good, except you achieve a success, right? And before you achieve that success, you need to build and work towards it. So there will be a certain time where nobody will know who you are or know your name or know anything. So at that point in time, you need to be your biggest cheerleader. You need to say, hey, I've done this, recognize the small wins that you've done. So if last week you couldn't code with HTML, but then this week you can now code with HTML, don't say, there are people that can do, develop an entire website. Recognize the small wins, those little things you've been able to achieve. And when you recognize them, you're not okay, hey, if I could do those small things, I can definitely do so much more. So start, stay consistent, be your biggest cheerleader, recognize your small wins, be open to asking questions, really ask questions, always be curious to know more when you see people that are doing well, or maybe just asking Google. And I think just joining a developer community, because the developer community has so many supportive people that are always willing to help. I am a true success story of the developer community, because I've had so many people that were willing to help. So just having people that have the same thought process as you, finding other developers, other designers, other program managers, and then just making friends with them, connecting with them. And then you see that working with people actually helps a lot, because most times I probably have a problem, or maybe I need an idea or something. I can just say, hey, Sultan, help me check this thing out, right? And then if you also need help, you could also reach out to me. So connecting with people is also really good. And then the way you can connect with those people is by
black pussies. You want your black dick? Black pussy. You want your black dick?
Okay.
You got pussies? You black nigger.
All right, so I think you might want to mute them.
You
so
black
I'm
pussy.
I think I'll have to yeah, so don't mute them. Yeah.
Okay, सुअर के औलाद काली pussy. Black.
Sorry about that. Don't just get removed.
Black.
Yeah, so I think the reason why that happened is because we posted the password online, which I kind of had issues with. So almost anybody can just join.
Join.
So it's a thing, it happens a lot on Zoom these days. So people really don't have sense sometimes. Anyway, yeah, but then that's just, then they just try to find what works for you, really, because what works for me or what works for other people might not work for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my advice I'd love to give to people. Just start and stay consistent.
Thank you so very much. We are so happy that you have you here and we actually listen to you. For me, I'm inspired enough, more than enough. I've listened to you for close to an hour. So thank you so much. And we sometime in the future we want to hear from you again. Sure, we will.
All right, sure. Yeah. Thank you very much for having me and for listening.
Thank you very much for encouraging us all. And I'll drop your maybe your DM for persons that will want to have a direct contact with you. Just guys.
Yeah.
I want the direct contact too.
You can just get to.
Okay, sure. So feel free to send me a DM, but then, like I said, just go straight to the point. Don't just say hi or hello, because I might not respond to you hi or hello. Not that I'm rude or proud or anything, but then it's just easier to like answer like your question immediately. So not just to me, like anybody generally, whenever sending a message to someone, it's better to go straight to the point because it makes them answer your questions like faster and on time.
Me too.
But I'll be happy to help. Always happy to help.
Yeah, some people just come around, hi, hello.
Yeah.
Hello. I'll be like, I don't understand. I don't know you. Just come on, say what you want to say so that I can just start from there and get to help you out. Please, everybody should try and
exactly.
that. Whenever you want to reach out to someone you don't know, someone that's not your friend, that someone that doesn't know you, please go straight to the point. Not just like hello, hi, hello. Hello, my name is so.
Yeah.
This is the reason why I'm chatting you up, and you guys can just start up from there. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
We're so happy to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, enjoy the rest of your day, and also to everybody that is here, enjoy the rest of your day. And we're so happy that you joined us and also benefited from Edidiong's conversation. So thank you very much, Didi. We really appreciate it. Okay, so everybody,
thank you very much for joining.
Yeah,
have a nice day.
You too. Take care. Yeah, bye.